everybody. How are we doing today? I'm Amy, and welcome to Amy's Inspiration Station on the Altenew YouTube and Facebook channels. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And hey, Avril. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Saskia. Hi, Leslie. And hi, Shiamara. We have Han behind the badge today, so I'm so excited that she is here, and we'll be putting some of our crafty goodies. And we're talking watercoloring today. And I had to mention because there's this great sale that's going on, which is 20% off of Mini Delights, and I think it's only going in through tomorrow. And I was like, darn it, I could have done Mini Delights, but I already did the tiny stamps on my last live, so I wanted to do something a little bit different. Hi, Ann. And oh my gosh, hi, Nancy. Hi, Sue. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. And hi, Elizabeth from Salt Lake. And hi, Leslie. Hi, Cece. It's so nice to see you guys. And so I wanted to, it's a Monday, and I feel like Mondays can be a little stressful. So I thought today we could talk a little bit about watercoloring. And I thought we could also talk about having some supplies and what do we do. There we go. Oh, and Alicia, yes. You ordered several mini sets because of your live. Hopefully you hit that sale. Hi, Roxy. Hi, Brandon. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. And I hope that you are going to share this live while we're live, and you'll be entered to win a $15 gift card to Altenew, and Han will be pulling that winner at the end, and you could put that towards some of the products that we're talking about today. So we're talking watercoloring. So it's a little bit of a craft your own adventure today. So I'm going to be asking for some input. So make sure you're right there with the keyboards and give me some information during the time. Oh, good. I'm glad you got that during the sale, Alicia. That's awesome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and point down. While I'm doing that, I would love to know where you feel like watercoloring. Are you somebody who like enjoys watercoloring? Does it give you a little bit of stress? Is it something that you like just to do abstract backgrounds? Do you like to do color in floral images or critters? So let me know about that. All right. So, oh, hi, Adrienne. Hi. I saw somebody in there. It's so nice that you guys are here. And I'm back at 3:30. So this is exciting. And we will see. And thank you so much, Sue and Roxy, for sharing this. And again, you can be like them and be entered to win a $15 gift card. All right, so we got some people that are new to watercoloring. That's good. This might help you to kind of push you a little bit into it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera down. And it always just takes me a little bit of a second. All right, so you can see I have a lot of goodies on my desk. And by the way, I do not want to miss any of your comments. So my head might be a little bit down because I'll be watercoloring and being super focused today. But if I don't catch your comment, just go ahead and retype it in. And when I catch, I'll look up. And I know I have so many fabulous people in the out in the chat watching this, so I know that they can answer some things. So Sue, abstract backgrounds, and some have done sunflowers. And, oh, that's so nice, Avril, watercoloring the embossed folders. And Leslie, mostly enjoy watercoloring. Oh, no notification, Tracy, no. And watercolor pencils. Those are great, Roxy. Oh, that's great, Cece. I love watercoloring, too. And Gail, people, animals, and flowers. It's such a great, relaxing thing. It's kind of, because it forces you to slow down. It really does. And that's why I thought this would be nice for a Monday to say, okay, what do we got? So I wanted to share with you guys a couple of things of watercolor. And you can see that my desk is a lot of goodies today that I want to go through. And I'm going to have you guys pick and tell me what it is that you want me to do today. I do not have the gouache set. I know that that's a new set out there, and I just have not purchased that yet. But it's definitely on my wish list. But I do have kind of like my favorite things that I like to color with. And my favorite items are the Artist Watercolor 24 pan set. So beautiful. Oh, you're going to love that, Sue, the watercolor brush sets. They are fabulous. Now, when I got them, I didn't realize how much I needed them until I would use them. And Avril, you are going to love those metallic watercolors. In fact, I'm going to try today to kind of do a couple of those. And Brandon, your mom does it too. It's such a wonderful way to kind of slow down and whatnot. And Anne, you'll have to tell me about the gouache and how much you like it. And Saskia, yeah, you'll have to tell me about that. And Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing this live. And you too could be like Jennifer, and you could be entered to win a $15 gift card to Altenew. And the metallic watercolor, these are just absolutely gorgeous. I know I've used them on a live before. They look fabulous on black paper. They even look great on white paper. So I have these sets. And then I also pulled in really a fan favorite here. Oh, aren't these just fabulous? And you can see how much I love them because this packaging has been, is the watercolor brush markers. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous to use. They come in 4 sets of different colors. And I missed it. I think spring and winter were on sale. I missed that. Oh my gosh. But they come in all these fabulous colors. These are great to go on the go. And then, of course, we have the watercolor pencils. Love using these. And then I have these, which you don't really think about, but these are markers, but they're water-based. And so this is a nice little thing because you can actually activate this with water and do a little bit of watercoloring on the go with these guys. These are great. Yeah, I love those. These Avril are so great. And I agree, Anne, these are so vibrant. And Stacy, I know you need all 4 sets. You don't even think you need. And hi, Dawn from New Zealand. Thank you so much for sharing this live while we're live. Well, Stacy, hopefully today, this can be the time that I can kind of pull you out of that fear and get you into doing some watercoloring. All right, this is a little bit of a sneak preview. I'm going to pull this out. You did not see this brush gold metallic cardstock. And that might be for a little sneaky peek later on. And Altenew also sells these, and you can get these anywhere, but these water brushes, these are fabulous to take on the go. I just kind of keep these in there. I fill them with water and I throw them in my bag. What I'm going to focus on today, and this is a little sneaky peeky too. Let's pull these out. I might be talking about the watercolor coloring books. And there's actually 4 coloring books, and I have them all. And there are 2 that are for markers. So those 2 are really markers and pencils. And then these 2 are watercolor. And I love these because of the fact that you can that you can actually just take these on a go. And I'm somebody that I'm always doing something. I'm always on the go. And so this is a great way to do that. So I just wanted to I'm just double checking. Like I said, I'm over just double checking that I missed anybody. And a lot of you are liking the watercolor brush markers, and those are my favorite as well. So these are great. Brandon, these are from Altenew, and these are super fabulous because of the fact that they come with these pre-printed images that are already on really great high quality watercolor paper. And it comes in both a line and a no line version. And that's what I love is you can practice here on the line version, which is a little bit easier because you can see where the heck you're going. And then you can also do it on the no line version. And these are nice and big. I think these are, let me grab my ruler, guys. These are nice big sheets. So let's see. These are, I think they're 5x7. Oh yeah, these are 5x7, which is fabulous because you can cut them down. I know, Sue, there's a lot of supplies. We got to figure them out. And so these are really fabulous to use. These are nice and big, and you can cut these down, cut them out, put them on a card. Just absolutely fabulous to use. And then the other one they have is called the Exotic Blooms Watercoloring Book. And these are a little bit smaller. So this is an A2. Let me just double check that. And it should be A2. Yep, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this is an A2 size. Again, wonderful paper. And you can see, I may have already done some of these. So you can see you have this line and then no line version. And it's really just a great way to practice. And I love just grabbing these and just going with them. In fact, I think this is where I'm going to pull. And then on the back on these ones, you can see all of the different things. So that's nice. The marker books, this is the Exotic Blooms marker book. I have actually asked if Altenew, I've asked Altenew if they could just take this and make the paper because the paper's fabulous. This, I have never experienced marker paper this good. It's really fabulous paper that they have. And the markers just blend super easily. Now we're doing watercoloring today, but I wanted to show you these. Now I actually bought this for my niece because she really loves art, and I bought her a set of like the basic, the introductory set of the artist markers, that there's 12. And I wish I could show you. She did an amazing, fabulous job. I bought that for her. So that way she could get a little practice on her coloring. And then the last one here is the Whimsical Flower Bunch. And these are loose leaf sheets. And these are big. These are 6x6. And you can, again, cut these down, make cards. These would be great for you, Avril. I don't know if you grab these or not. But these are, these are 6x6, which would be a good size for you. And these are just individual sheets. And you can see all the wonderful designs they have. And these are great for marker as well. So I'm going to put the marker ones aside because these, I'm going to focus on watercolor today. And I wanted to know if you guys were going to be watercoloring, which book would you like me to pull from? Do you want me to pull from the smaller one, the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, or do you want me to pull from the 5 by 7? So let's do big book, small book. All right, which one do you want to put here from? I know, Avril, you need to look at those because they're really cute. Really, really cute. And Gail, I love alcohol markers too. They're fabulous. Hi, Melly. And oh wow, Tracy. Just make 5 by, that is true. Avril, I could just make a 5 by 7 card, but I don't know. Then I gotta like pay more. So, and Nisa with the 36 pan, absolutely fabulous. And I'm just going through and scrolling some comments on here. All right, we got, oh my gosh, big book it is. Whoa, I low scroll down and you guys are all like, big book, big book. All right, so I'm gonna pull this aside. Again, super fabulous. Love it. It has really, really gorgeous designs, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this aside. All right, so we're gonna do big book. So I want to get a nice, I'm just kind of looking, I'm going to do a line. I'm going to do a lined piece here. And I think I want to grab, I'm just kind of going to grab one of these out of here. And these are all bound, but they're actually easy to pull out. And these are all representative of these are all representative of the designs that Altenew already has. All right, I think I'm going to grab this one because that has an open flower and a closed flower. Ooh, I think I'm going to grab this one. Do you do big book first? It's up to you. I think it just depends on, your comfort level. They're both really fabulous. This was the first book that came out, and I like the fact that the images are big, so you don't have to, you can really move that ink around that you do on there. All right, next question for you guys. So that's our image. And I want to ask, do you want me to use the watercolor brush markers? Do you want me to use the watercolor pencils, or do you want me to use the pan set? All right, so it's pan, pencils, markers. Pan, pencils, and markers. Elizabeth, is that better? Picture is blurry on full screen. Sometimes it is if I pull things. All right, brush markers, pan, and big book. All right, I think the big book is definitely better for us. All right, you guys go. So we got pan, 24, pan. So we got 3 24s. It looks like markers are going, and we got some pencils and markers. All right, I'm going to start with the markers. And Vicki, I'm going to add in a couple of with the pencils just so you can see. And we'll do that, okay? So I'll start with these to show you how to use them. And then I'll do some of with the pencils too, because these are really, really fabulous. Now, I'm going to talk about how I do this. Han, I'm going to throw this in here because I know, I don't know if anybody has this. Does anybody have the bag? Love this bag. Love this bag. This is my bag that I throw everything in, and this is what I take to events. And I actually will throw in here, and it's massive. So I can fit markers. Look how big this thing is. So I can fit markers. I can fit all my stuff in here, and I can just take it with me. So I go to soccer practices. I go to, love that bag. Right, Tracy? Oh my gosh. Love that bag. The Craft Your Life bag from Altenew is fabulous. And I'm just somebody that I'm on the go. I'm on the go a lot. And so it really kind of helps me with this. All right, a couple of other things while I am coloring. And again, my hope is that this will kind of if you're nervous about starting it or you're not really familiar with any of these materials, this hopefully will get you out of your comfort zone. All right, so I'm going to put the pencils right over here. Bag holds a lot. Yay, I know. I love that bag. I love that bag. All right, so we have the watercolor brush markers. So I have these over on the side, and I apologize for that glare. And I also have some clean water. And so this is a little dish that I found. My friend and I were out shopping, and we just kind of hit this little fair. And I grabbed this from a girl who had just graduated from Mass College of Art. So it's kind of like, you need something that's a little bit happy on your desk. And then I'm actually going to grab a second one. So I have some clean water and some dirty water. So that way my brushes kind of stay where they need to be. And then I have this, and these are my mantras. And this, as I color, I sometimes forget that I need to slow down. And that's really the crux of this, is how do you slow down? So I'm going to color this with you, and then we're going to take this and we're going to turn this into a card, and maybe a 5x7 card too, Avril. And so I always say it's a mess before it's a success. There's this part when you're coloring where you're just like, what happened? I don't know. But you just kind of have to push through that part. And then I have use the dark to bring out the light. Don't be afraid of those dark colors. Don't be afraid about adding that contrast, because that will actually help you to show where the highlights are on your thing. And it's just paper. So you know what? If I mess it up, that's fine. It's just paper. And then the fourth one, especially for watercoloring, is go with the flow. So understand that it's water. It's going to do what it wants to do, etc. And I have to say, Brandon, I don't know if you're writing or you're just kind of visiting the Houston Rodeo, but these are like things that when I go and I pick things up, that it helps a little bit. All right. And hi, Helen. I hope that you are doing well. It's nice to see that you're out there. Okay, so I want to show you guys. Oh, and I have to grab this one too. So these brushes from Altenew. So Altenew has 2 sets of artist brushes. There is this one. And for the life of me, I don't know where I put my second one. Well, it's somewhere. There's this. Now, this one is a nice set because it includes a lot of variety. These are round brushes, and it goes from 1, 2, 3, and 4 size. So you can see them getting progressively larger. So it goes this way just to help you. And then there is this wide flat brush, which is great for backgrounds. Then there is a detailed brush set, and that I did pull out, but I don't know where the heck it went to. So these, as Anne is saying, are fabulous brushes. And while we're live, please share and let us know where you shared it to. And that way, this would be something, if you don't have it, I definitely put on my list. All right, so I'm going to grab a 2, and I'm going to grab a 1. No, grab all of them right now because I think I need them all. All right, so I'm going to push that aside. I always have like a little towel or something, and that just kind of helps me if my brushes get a little crazy. And then if I am like on the go, I will use these guys a lot. But when I'm at home and I have time, etc., then I can do that. I can just kind of take my time as I go through things. Now, the brushes, the watercolor brushes, these are fabulous because they have their own tip to them, but they're very, very vibrant and they pull out a lot of color. So sometimes, I think it did, Vicki. I did. And the brushes do have numbers on them, Tracy. So let me just kind of see if this will focus in. I'm going to bring this up in just a second, okay? I think it will focus in on it. All right. Be mindful. We're getting a little crazy right now. Can you see that? 1. These are out of order. I apologize for those who are looking at it and needing the order. So they have a number on them, and then you can see the tips. So if I put these in order of size, so let me flip my 3 and my 4. So these are all round brushes, 1 through 4. So they are numbered. They're fabulous. And I think, Vicki, my other brush set fell into the craft room vortex, but I really need it for detail. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but that's all right. I'll figure it out. All right. So these flowers, let's see. What colors do I want to do here? I'm going to pull from a bunch of these, and I have on the side my palettes, and I wanted to share these with you because I think that these are fabulous. They're something that I always keep with me. This is the large palette. It is huge. Let me get my ruler out again. Realize how much I'm using my ruler today. This is 11 inches. I think it's 8.5. Yep, it's 8.5 by 11. So this is a full-size piece of paper. This thing's lovely. I love it. I like even watercoloring on it. Don't mess up your surface. It is fabulous. And then this one is a little bit smaller. So you can see it's just over I think it's 6 by 8. Really, really fabulous. Nice one. So this is the medium and the large size. And I do keep these around and I have them around for me. They're really, really fabulous. The palettes. All right, so let's pull some colors. Does anybody have a preference on flower color? Anybody have a preference on flower color? Pink, purple, orange, blue. I'm just going to grab some colors here. And they are great palettes, Anne. They really, really are fabulous. Okay. Orange, peach. Yeah, I like the peach. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of peachy today. I don't know what it is. So I'm just grabbing some colors. My friend who's an actual, I shouldn't say this, but she is a trained artist. I will say that much. And when I started watercoloring and I went to her for some advice and I said, can you help me? And she said, the most important thing you can do is, and I am pulling all the colors. Just realized that now. She said, the most important thing you can do is to work. And I know I'm pulling all of these, but it's just because I'm pulling out. I just want some peaches and some greens and stuff. Is to make your secondary colors. So she said the best thing to do is work with a limited palette at first, and then work on those to see what you got. All right, I think I'm not going to pull anything from here. Yes, I am. I want to pull that sea breeze. Is this dusk? No, that's sea breeze. All right. Okay, and I know this looks like crazy. I'm not even going to use all these. I'm just kind of pulling them all out right now. All right. So when I watercolor, so I'm actually going to start with a number 3. I just want to make sure this is clean. Okay, there we go. So this is not embossed or anything. So when I put this around, then that water is just going to flow. So if I just kind of shove all this water around, when I put that pigment in, it's gonna go crazy. So I typically like to do a wet on wet technique. So I'm going to start with, I'm actually going to grab this guy. I'm going to start with this. This is a rouge. And I just like to get a little bit of color on my palette. So I'm just putting a little bit there. And I can actually use these directly on here. I just like to, and I'm just going to make my own peach. Because there really isn't a peach. So I'm going to make my own peach. So I'm just kind of throwing colors. So I grabbed, this is Mango Smoothie that I have here. I grabbed rouge. And I grabbed orange cream. So I have a pretty bright orange, fairly bright, pink peach, and then I have a yellow. So my brush has just a little bit of water on it. Sorry about that, guys. Markers down. And then what I'm going to do is just decide where I'm going to go. And when I'm looking at this, I want there to be more color at the base of these leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and start here. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water. And then I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this pigment. This is the orange cream. And then I'm just going to drop that pigment in. And you can see it's starting to move. And it's not going to go on the other leaves because I didn't happen to put any of the water there. It's only going to stay where I want it to stay because that's where I added water. All right, so that's orange. Now I want to add in, I want to start to lighten that up just a little bit. And I have my cloth over here on the side. You can kind of see I'm putting this off. So I'm just grabbing a little bit more. And I'm going to start to pull and add some water in because that's a little bit bright for me. And that's all I'm doing is that was a lot of pigment. So I'm just going to dilute that pigment down to try to get the rest of this petal a little bit lighter. And I want to preserve some white space on the edge of that petal. But you can see I'm just pulling that off. And if I feel like I have even just a little bit too much, what I can do is just take this cloth and just go right in and just dab up some of that color. All right, so I'm just going to wet this a little bit. And this I want to be dark right along the side. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of that color and just add it in. And if you have any questions, or if you have a technique that you like to do, or if you love watercoloring, or you're like, I never used this before, what am I doing? Then please add those in the chat and I'll look up periodically. Keep talking to the screen. I know. Yep. So you can see that this is fairly monochromatic, and let me zoom in a little bit on this petal so you can see what the heck I'm doing here. And you can see it's fairly monochromatic. I don't want that to be monochromatic. I actually want to add a couple of other colors. So I can do it one way. I can add in those colors and just mix it on my paper, or I can mix them here. So I'm going to add just a little bit of this yellow. And these are transparent. Sorry, these are translucent, meaning that they're going to work on top of each other. I always find that my first petal is kind of a mess, and then it's like, And then I'm just going to add a little bit of this rouge in. And you want to be mindful of the water you're adding to make sure that you're not oversaturating your paper, because it will pill on you. Now I'm just coming in with a little bit more of this orange just to go back to that. And then I'm just going to pull that up a little bit. All right, so you can see I have a little bit of a dark, but I'm getting this nice light shade up at the top. And if I feel like it's too much, I can always push that color back down just by adding a little bit of water, and that will pull some of that color out. All right, so I'm going to let this leaf just kind of hang out, or this petal just kind of hang out on the side, and then I'm going to move to the next one. Wednesday, we are on Instagram with Lydia Brandon, and then on Thursday, I think it's Bridget. I think Bridget is on Thursday, which is always an adventure with Bridget, I have to say. All right, now I'm going to move over to another petal. So I'm not going to do this petal or this petal. I'm going to move to actually this opposite side. And I can move my paper up and down. That's not a problem. And I'm going to do this petal right here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to add a little bit of water. And I still have some of that orange, which is fine. And I'm just kind of mapping out where I want that dark to be. And this time, instead of just grabbing right from the orange cream, I'm going to grab a little bit of orange cream. And I want to add a little bit more yellow to it. So I'm going to kind of add, so I'm making my own color. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to drop it in. And I want a little bit more yellow. And I'm just going right around. Wherever this is since these are cast shadows, because this is a petal that's behind another petal, it's going to have regions where it's a little darker. So now I laid my color down. How does wet on wet look different than dry? Yes, it is less flowy. I know it's kind of funny to say, but I feel like I have less control when it's like that. And so this is why I prefer this method, because I feel like I have more control with it. And maybe it's just like standard, just because that's how I learned first. I learned with a pan set first before the brush markers came out. And what time on Instagram? Can someone help Nancy out? What time is Instagram? Is that 12:30 that Lydia does Instagram? I'm not I don't know, because I always miss it because I'm always at work. So that's when I always miss. Okay, all right. And I'd love to know if you craft on the go, if that's something that you do, is if you craft on the go. All right, so I'm grabbing some of this orange cream. So this is the darker orange, and now I'm going back in. And I don't know if you can see, Tracy, that it's starting to, it spreads out. So as I put a drop of ink there, because the water's already there, it spreads out a little bit more. And I'm just going in right around these edges just to get that cast shadow, but I'm going to preserve that. You can see I'm trying to preserve that light up there. And when I keep dipping this in, all I'm doing is just pulling my color out. And everybody, I feel like, has their own version of this, of the way that it works for them. And that's something that you just have to practice as you move along. I'm going to grab some crimson because I don't feel like I have enough delineation between light and dark. Thank you very, very much, Han. So 3 o'clock on Wednesdays with Lydia. All right, that's fabulous. All right, so I'm going to just take this and I'm just going to move this color up. So this is just clean water or clearish water. Now I'm going to grab some clean water from here. And that's why I like having the dirty and the clean water, so I can add some in. And then the best part is when you get cat hair, because that's fabulous. I don't think you can have anything without a cat hair on it. Oh boy, cat hair. Okay, awesome. All right, so I'm going to, again, I'm just adding some clean water because I want to preserve this white. So I'm just pushing this color back and smoothing out those edges. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with that nice bright orange and just go right around the edges. And then Tracy, I'll do my next petal dry first, so that way you can see the difference with it. All right, that was a little much. So let me pull that back. So you can see I got it. It's a little much, so I can come in with clean water. And it might, this is starting to spread a little bit. And I can just come in and erase those edges, and that's not a big deal. So I'm just going to come in and just plop some of that up. If you like orange, I know that's right, Vicki. It's just added texture. Is crimson is like this nice red that also has a lot of orange to it. And so it's a great one to add that little bit of depth. So you can see that maybe possibly compared to the orange. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this red. And this is that dark, using dark to add the light. And so even though my petal is fairly dark, when I start adding this color in, you can now see that it starts to become lighter because I added the dark. And all I'm doing is just taking my brush. My brush is fairly dry. And I'm just taking the red and just smoothing it over. Just going to grab just a tiny bit and just go right around here. Okay. All right. So then again, so now you can kind of see that depth and a lot of patience and be sparing with the water. That's great, great advice, Gail. So you can now see that a little bit. And you can see that. So just by adding that little bit of crimson, it starts to make that petal. It really gives you that depth. And that's what I encourage you to do is just take your markers like I did. Don't leave them in the set and just throw them all over the place and see what you got. All right. Let's try for you, Tracy. Let's do the dry one. So I'm actually not going to start with orange cream. I'm going to grab Sunkissed. And Sunkissed is this really, really pretty orange. And there's this cotton candy. It's so pretty. It is pink, but it has a little orangey tinge to it. And now I'm going to go for a different petal. So I really can't touch these petals that are near it. So here, I'll do this petal over here on the side. All right, so you can kind of see. So I'm just going to grab these. And I'm just going to color it in just like I would if it was a marker, because these are watercolor brush markers. And I'm just laying down like a little sliver of color. And then I'm going to come in. I'm just kind of mapping out where these would be, where the darkest sections are going to be. And you can see it's not moving at all. All right, it's not moving at all. And so now I'm going to grab some clean water. And I'm going to start to move that color around. And the reason why I started with the Sunkissed versus the orange cream like I had done on the other ones is really twofold. I don't like coloring my petals the exact same color all the way around the flower. I like to mix it up. That's why I pulled so many different ones. And the second reason is because I'm adding the color directly from the marker, it's going to have a much more intense pigment versus me picking it up off my palette. And so that's why I decided to do that. You do want to be quick here because it does dry. You can see it's dry, or maybe you can't, but it's dried a little bit. And so I'm just have to take a little bit more time to reactivate that. So you can see that difference. You ready, Tracy? So just a little bit different. It still works great. And that's the other thing, Sue. I do that too because I just want to get the image done. And so I start like connecting like petals and I'm like, no, don't do it. So it's a little bit tougher on that part. Now let me show you that with the crimson. So I can come in with the crimson and I can add just a little bit of that crimson. And because this is a little bit wet because I added in that, it's going to flow a little bit more. So now when I come in with my wettish brush, I can go ahead and move that crimson around, and that is going to help to give us some depth and texture on this petal. And again, it's just adding that little bit is there. And I'm just going to add a touch of crimson just to give that a little bit of depth right on the edge. So we have that petal. So pretty, right? Yeah, it is different. And it really, like, the outcome is similar. It's just really what you feel comfortable with doing. And to be honest, that's a pretty fast method. The other ones I'm using like 3 colors and I'm like going in and out, but it's just whatever it is that feels comfortable with you, like for you to do. All right, so now this is fairly-ish dry. So I'm going to start moving into these other petals, and I want to add some different colors. So I'm going to grab, so you saw in this one, I used Sun-Kissed, so it's a little bit lighter. And on these ones, I think I want to add this citrus. This is, oh, fresh lemon. I'm actually going to start with a little bit of fresh lemon on the bottom. So let me grab that. And to this one, I'm going to add some Sun-Kissed. And this is a nice yellow because it's a little bit of a darker yellow. So I just want it to look a little bit different, especially because it's a budding. It's right next to that other petal. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of yellow. You ready, Tracy? It should flow. It's not too much water here because I'm still trying to control it. But I'm going to let this yellow come up, and I'm just going to grab a little bit and just go right along this edge. So that's a little bit of yellow. Now I'm going to grab the Sun-Kissed. So that's the Sun-Kissed. And I can grab that Sun-Kissed and go ahead and just come in. And that's going to give us a little bit of a different look. All right, just grabbing some clean water, and now I'm going to mix those two on the paper. And I could mix them before I put them on to make a tertiary color, but I wanted you to see the actual dark and light. Can I zoom in a little more? Let me see, Ann. Let me see. And just as a reminder, we're no, I don't think I can, Ann. You know, I think I got to change my battery on my remote. That's what's going on. Oh, there we go. We did it. Yay. Thank you, Ann. So this way you can kind of see that. So it's a little bit different, and I can add that crimson in again. In fact, I think that's going to be too dark. Let me add that rouge. I think this is rouge. I'm just going to add a little bit of rouge just to give it a little bit of darkness. And that's really what I'm doing is I'm playing. And I like that about watercolor is I'm just kind of playing around to see what the heck it looks like, etc. And each of my petals is a different way to experiment with what I'm doing. And I like the fact that there's going to be some petals that are a little bit lighter and some petals that are a little bit darker, and that's going to give us that difference of color. All right, let's see, I got 20 minutes. Now, this kind of a piece, this is going to take me a while, but that's okay. I'm all right with that because I want to use this as a time to meditate or process. I do want to take my time on these things. And that's what I love about the coloring books is I have a ton of variety. I can take it with me wherever I go, and I can just kind of play. And that's what I like about them. All right, I'm going to start with these petals in the back. And these are fairly dark petals. So I'm actually going to do both of these at the same time. And I want to pick a rather darkish orange. So I'm going to grab the orange cream. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put that pigment directly down on here. And you saw what happened. It's because sometimes these get a little cloggy. So as I opened it, it had some extra ink on the side, on the edges. And so I'm just going to go ahead and add these in. because I want this to be fairly dark right there. And this is a small area, so I'm going to be really careful. In fact, I think I'm going to change brush sizes, and I'm going to go down to a 2. All right, just grabbing some clean water. And now I'm just going to take this ink and I'm just going to pull it. And I'm being really, really super careful. That's why I wanted to use a more detailed brush. I'm just being very, very careful about going around the petal that's in front of it. All right, does anybody have any watercoloring tips? What are things that work for you? Do you have a product that you love? Let me know. What do you think? Am I using one brush for water and one for pigment? I'm not, Tracy, because I always forget which is which. I end up, and I also, you may have noticed it before, is I tend to use my mouth as an appendage. And so I start like putting brushes in my mouth. I don't know what I think one time I did it and I like made sure I used some washi tape to identify which was which. And what Tracy's saying is instead of using one brush, I can make sure that I have, so this is one that I can lay down with pigment and then I don't have to keep cleaning it off. So my second is always for water, but I always forget which is which and then I end up switching hands. So I kind of just do it this way. This way is also faster. So it's a way to just kind of get this done and move on. All right, I'm going to add a little rouge because I don't like how I want this to be darker. And I can actually take in, and I didn't grab it out. This might freak out some of you, but it's in the same color family. Oh, this is purple wine. And so when this mixes with the orange, it's going to become brown. So I can grab a little bit of this and I can come right in and I'm just going to grab just a little bit of purple. And this is going to mix and look brown. And this is going to give me an even darker tone than the crimson, because the crimson is very, very close to the orange, but the purple is an opposite, because blue and orange are opposite. So blue and orange together will make brown. But this is how you can get that nice darkness. And you see, as soon as I start to put that in there, you can start to see the light right on the edges because I'm adding this. And I know you're like, but you're doing orange. Why did you grab a purple? And this is why, because if I want to add these in, I can just use this color. And this is all color theory, guys. So that color wheel, which I lost mine in the move, but that color wheel becomes really important when you start playing around with colors and trying to mix your own colors. All right, so I'm just going to take this and just add a little bit of water just to kind of smooth this edges, because this is getting a little dry and a little stipply. And this paper is nice because it does soak up that water, which is what you want, but just be mindful in how you do that. So I just wanted to show you this. Can you foil the coloring books with a laminator? You might be able to, Roxy. I haven't tried that. But you should. If this is laser printed, that might be a good question, Han, to that we can add into the Altenew folk. If you use what Roxy's referring to is that if you have a laminator and this certain type of foil, you can actually take things that are laser printed on paper, and they could actually be foiled. That's a good idea, Roxy. I think I might have to try that when we're off of this, honestly. All right, I got 15 minutes. Excuse me. So I want this section to be a little bit more yellow, and then we're going to kind of go out. I want that to be very, very light. And then these two petals are here. So I already did this, so I'm going to leave that section alone. So I'm going to come out to the front, and I'm going to start working here. Somebody wanted to see the colored pencil, so I'm going to show these. And these are fabulous to work with. You can use them the same way, where you can put the color over on the side. And these are great because I'm just going to put that color down. So here's my heartbeat, and I'm going to grab, this is orange cream, and I want to grab, this should be crimson. Yes, there you are, crimson. You can tell I use that one a lot. And then I want to grab a little bit of yellow. So this is yellow. All right. So what I'm going to do here is very similar. I'm going to grab my, I'm going to grab crimson here. And I'm just going to start tracing right around the edge of this. I'm just laying down pigment. That's all I'm doing. I want to go, this is my darkest color, so I want to make sure that that goes where I want the darker part of the color to be. And then what I can do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to start laying down some other colors. So I'm just coming out and adding in a little bit of orange. And I want to be mindful not to put too much in. These are highly pigmented, so I don't want to do too much because this is going to bloom all over the place. And I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow right on top of that. So now when I put water in on top of them, that's going to move this pigment around and then they start to blend. So you can see the difference between these two. So you still see that nice dark line of that crimson that I put down initially. And I find these work really, really quickly. They're lovely, lovely pigments on them and they blend beautifully. They are really, really great to use. I'm just going to pull, this was a little too much for me. So I'm going to start to pull this back a little bit. And now that I have this pigment on the edge of my brush, I'm actually going to lay it down here. So that way I don't have to get rid of it, but I can transfer it over. And so that's just a little bit different with that. And I can add a little purple because I want that to be really, really dark right in here. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of purple and just add that right in. And that's really going to darken that up. And you can see as soon as I added that little bit of purple, you can see how much lighter that petal got. I'm just going to add a little bit of dark right here. All right, so that's that one. And you can see how quickly that works, like how fast you go with these pencils. And I'll do another one for you. I'm going to do this section up here. So this is Heartbeat. It's also has a little orangey red to it. And I'm just going to come, let's see, I want to come right here. I like these for getting into these nooks and cranny areas because I can kind of follow along because I have so much control with the pencil. So I really like that about it. And you can see that even though I'm creating an orange flower, how much red and yellow I'm using. Because again, I want that variation of color and I want things to be a little bit different as I go along. All right, I'm just going to make that a little bit lighter. And I'm going to pull in my yellow. I want this to be a little bit lighter, so I'm just going to pull this in. And I want this to be lighter here. So that was the yellow. And now I'm going to put orange because I want this to be a little bit darker. All right, so now I'm going to come in with just clean water. And I'm going to start to move these colors and blend them through. So you can see that red, that heartbeat stays there. So I'm using some water to kind of move it. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And they're nice and yellow because I wanted that look. And then here's my orange. And if I wanted more orange in here, I can just pull from this petal and then pull it down. So just again, a little bit of a different look. Yes, and these are great for traveling because to be perfectly honest, I use this. I don't even bring my artist brushes because these are too nice. And I bring just the water brush and it's really, really easy to use for that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish these up. I want to add, so I'm going to go back using my inks that are on my palette. And then I think I should have time to show you a leaf and show you how I do leaves. So this is purple. I'm just kind of throwing this purple down. I'm just picking up colors that I have over here on my palette. And I'm going to grab a little bit of the orange and I'm going to start to move that in. And my brush is a little dry, so I'm going to pull that, add some water in. And the brush and how much water you should have, that is really feel. That is really just kind of noticing what's going on, what's working, how much of my color do I want to move, how much, should it be moving? What the heck am I doing? If I don't want it to move and I want to do a fine line like I just did, I'm not going to have a lot of color. I'm going to lay that pigment down, and then I'm going to start to pull it in, and it's the water that makes that pigment to move. And then if I mess up, it's just water. It's not a big deal. So I can use more water to pull that out. Or if I want to, fix it a different way, I can actually add, like here, I'm just adding a little bit more of that crimson. And that's going to create that, just create a different color. So it's going to give me a little bit of a light section. And if you really mess up, then you come in with your handy dandy cloth and you just pull some of that color off. All right, and I'm just going to add in a little bit more color here and then pull it off. Oh, that's a great idea, Patricia, when you travel and you're pan watercolors and brushes. Yeah, that's fabulous. I like to use them. They're, it's just a nice way that if, you're traveling or you just need some downtime, it's good. And Nancy, sometimes they publish it. If you look on the very first on our opening and closing screens, you'll actually see the schedule of lives for each of the month. That's been really helpful that they've been doing this. All right, so this is dry. I'm just grabbing this on my brush and I'm just going ahead and putting this on. And so you can see that it's not moving, but as I just cleaned off my brush and now I'm going to start to move that around, pick up a little bit of purple. And this is when I start going off the rails, guys, because somebody had mentioned before, I just want to get it done and I lose patience. So I just start going off the rails and I just start adding stuff. And I add like all these crazy colors. I don't even know what's on here anymore. And I'm just adding and adding and adding and taking off, adding water, removing water, and then it just becomes kind of this seesaw around it. Okay, but those are great tips. Those are really, really great tips. All right, so let me keep going. So I want these to be relatively light. So there's a little bit, I think this is mango smoothie, or this might be the lemon. And I'm just going to grab this. This is very heavily watered down. And I'm just going to grab this and I'm just going to push this on. And I'm going to put it right on here and right on this edge and right over here. I just want those to be a little bit more yellow. And then this back side, I'm going to grab this cotton candy. So cute. I'm just going to add a little bit here. And add just a little bit of red-ish. Here we go. Here's my rouge. Just going to add a little bit of rouge. And then I'm going to blend those up. All right. So this is, now what I would do is kind of go back and start futzing with this. But what's nice is we have a flower that's just a little bit different. It's not all the petals are the same. It gives you some variety. You can see areas of light and areas of dark, and you can see the differences between where those petals are. And I do have to say, if you're new to this, start with the line coloring, and that's going to help you to figure out how things are going to work for you as you go along. All right, I want to show you guys how I do leaves. And so I'm pulling out all of the reds and everything, and I'm staying over here. So I pulled some greens, I pulled some blues, I pulled some turquoises. And with leaves, I always like to do the centers where the venation is to me is always the darkest. And then the outside, because that's furthest away from where it's getting the most nutrients, that's going to be a little bit on the lighter side. And so I'm actually going to start out with this nice bright green. Let me grab this just green. And I'm going to throw this on here. And I like to add in, I got these blues because I like my leaves to either be a little bit more on the olivey side, or I grab them and they are a little bit on the like eucalyptus bluer side. All right, so I did this wet on dry, and you can see that ink is not moving at all. That pigment's not moving. So now I'm going to add just a little bit of water and then drop in a little bit more color. There we go. And again, I'm trying to keep those edges as much as that. And I like that too. Though, thank you, Shimara. It's I like that too. I like the difference between the colors, and I think it makes it look a little bit more realistic. I really do. All right, so this is Lagoon, and you can see as I put the Lagoon down, and I know I'm putting it near orange, but as I put the Lagoon down, I think I need my refills. There we go. As I put the Lagoon down, it's pretty blue, but it's a blue-green. I love using Sea Breeze because that's such a bright blue, if you can see the difference between them on here. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this Lagoon, and I'm just going to start mushing that in. And you can see how dark it is right there at the base. So I'm grabbing a little bit more water, and now I'm just going to move that color. This paper is... Oh, I just realized I'm using the 2. It's like, why don't I have enough water? Because I'm using the 2. The brush sizes become important because it's how much water each of them can hold. More water, bigger brush head, but you also got to realize that you might be, losing a little bit of control because of the fact that there's so much water on there. All right, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit more green. And I can just start dropping in some green just to pull in some texture. So you can see I'm not even brushing, I'm just dropping. And that's just going to provide a little bit of texture to that. So let me show you this leaf. So up close, it looks like this, but you can see farther away, it has kind of all of this different color. And I agree, Gail, that is a really super good one. Change your water often when using multiple colors, or else you will end up with something really crazy on that one. All right. So how I would finish these off. So I agree. This is a wonderful 5x7 piece. And so I think it's just beautiful as is. And there are 2 die sets, and I'm going to show you what these look like. And then I showed you guys at the beginning this brush gold cardstock. And of course, there's 4 colors of the cardstock, and all of them are just really, really fabulous. And I would say that you really could use any of them, because that metallic, I think these with metallic would just be gorgeous and be fabulous with it. All right, I'm just trying to zoom out a little bit here. Okay, there we go. This here is the tall alpha set, and I'm just going to give you an example. This is a card that I finished using the tall alpha set, and this is just a magnolia piece, but you can see how pretty those are. They're just a wonderful size. And no, Nancy, the paper's not warping at all. Look at this. Can you see that? And I was using a lot of water, but that's not warping at all. And I would say if I to adhere this to a card front, I would use the double-sided adhesive from Altenew. That's a nice, strong adhesive that's going to work. So I just wanted to show you what those would look like here. And do I have my other one? Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't grab it. I didn't find one with it. This set is absolutely fabulous. This is the fine alphabet set. You can see the size is the same. It's just that these are all in capitals. Excuse me. These are all in capitals, and these are all lowercase. So both of these are really, really great sets to use. And then you can look in the back. Can you see these score lines? So I just gave it a little bit of texture, because obviously if this is a one-dimensional thing, you really can't run it through an embossing folder. But the easiest thing to do is just use your scoreboard. So I'm going to grab the scoreboard here, and you can take your scoreboard, put your image down, and then just what I did is I just didn't score the image. So you have to kind of like pull it, stop, figure out where the line is, pull it again. And so you're going around the image, and that's just with a scoreboard. So this is the Altenew scoreboard, really easy and really fabulous to do. And that little, the little guy they have in there that has the bulb tip is fabulous, because that's going to go through the heavy paper. And obviously a little bit of splatter. So this one is another one that I've watercolored. This one actually watercolored at karate. And this is a little bit of splatter, helps a little bit. And then this one this I call spotlight coloring. So it's where I did the whole, I have the image. So this is the image. The image is actually like this. I just put it on its side. And then all I did was just did one flower. and left the rest of it in gold. And that's a nice way to do it. And then this one here, I did, this one I think I did at soccer. And this one I did at soccer. It got meshed up a little bit because I get overexcited and I don't let things dry. But again, same thing, splatter, and it's just nice to have a little bit of differences. And then this one is artist marker. So I did this one with artist marker. And the reason I pulled this example is because you can do a little highlight with blue or silver right around. And the great set to get is the winter set, because that has it's the winter set, which fell on the ground. That one has a metallic silver marker. That's really great to use for things like that. So this is nice because you can just add a little piece on there. Hi, Sue. I hope you watch it later. Yeah, the poppies, that one took me a little bit, but those are really nice. That's a really, really pretty set. All right, so let me come on up. So we talked today about watercoloring, about using, you have a pan set, metallic set, used a little bit of those coloring pencils, and I used the brush markers. And then I just talked about, when you color, using a lot of different colors, mix them up. And then how do you finish a card off using some little, yes, you can absolutely paint with the sprays. Any of them that you have, as long as it's water-based, you can paint with it. You can paint with the dye inks. You can paint with, like the Hawaiian brush, the Hawaiian Shores markers that I showed you guys in the beginning. You can paint with those. Anything that's water-based, as long as you're adding water to it, you can do it. And thank you so much, Han, and thank you for being here, Han. I really appreciate that you put everything in the chat and, kind of hung out with me a little bit. And thank you all so much for coming in. I hope that this inspired you to take out those watercolors, look at those supplies, think about taking that moment for yourself and just slowing things down and just getting out and having some fun with your paints. I really hope, and the Altenew watercolor books, they make it so easy because then it's all done. You don't have to think about which stamp set do I get? Do I have that stamp set? It's so nice to have the marker books because you can they're all here. I don't even know, they're like 12 different, there's 12 stamp sets in here. You want to think about that. So 12 times 15, that's a lot of money. Or you can just buy the marker book and you got it in there. Probably shouldn't say that. But it's a really, really great thing, especially if you want to try something out. This is a very, very low-key way to do it. So, all right. I hope you guys have a super duper fabulous day. And I really appreciate you being here with me. And happy watercoloring, everybody. And I'll catch you later. All right. Bye. Thank you.